Okay, let's take a look at the situation within the Ukraine itself. And we had been reporting last week, especially at the start of the invasion, that several people were trapped in that country, many Nigerians. Well, one of them joins us this morning. Eniola Badejo is a Nigerian student who, before now, was studying in the Ukraine. Good morning, Eniola. Thanks for being with us.
Good morning, sir.
Let me begin by, what's the situation on ground? We hear very many stories, one person claiming something, the other person denying it, but what's the situation this morning?
The situation is very terrible right now because people have been there for days, and it's currently -2 in Lviv, and it's snowing right now. So people have been outside without shelter, without food, without water. And I even have a friend who had angina 2 days ago, and he has not still gotten into the border. So the problem is the Ukrainian border, the Ukrainian guards at the border, they are not letting male foreigners pass through. And if you can't get past the Ukrainian border, you can't even access the transit country. So that's the problem right now.
Well, a curfew, from the reports we have, a curfew is supposed to have been lifted this morning, making movement a bit easier. Is that true? Have people been able to go out and see what's happening for themselves and probably explore options of getting across to the border? Because we are told that once you get to the border, there's help waiting on the other side.
So the thing is, it's a very long distance. It's about, some people walk for about 24 kilometers. So we can't walk there without getting shot. So people at the border currently are the ones giving us information.
And what are they telling you? People at the border, what are they telling you?
So there's a long queue, and the Ukrainians are not letting male foreigners get through. And if we can't get past the Ukrainian border, we can't even access the Polish or Hungarian or Slovakian borders.
Well, you are not male, you're female, and so this shouldn't really affect you. You should be able to get through. So why aren't you making the move?
Oh, I'm not making the move because it's really terrible out there, and I can't go in the cold and wait several hours. So people there currently have to leave before I can now make movements to go there.
What are they telling you is the reason why foreigners, foreign males, are not allowed to cross the border out of Ukraine? I know that there was a law asking those who are male, who are Ukrainian, to join the armed forces, but how about foreigners? What's the reason why foreigners are being prevented? What are you being told?
We don't know. That's the problem. We don't know. Some guards are maltreating the males. They're beating them with teasers. It's just terrible out there. We don't know. They're not even giving us a reason. Some Ukrainian guards are nice, but some are not even being. It's just terrible out there.
Have you heard from the Nigerian embassy, the Nigerian authorities in Kiev, the Nigerian embassy? Have they been in touch with you? If so, what have they said?
So the Nigerian embassy has been in touch with the Nigerian embassy. They've been in touch with the receiving country borders. But right now, we need them to reach out to the Ukrainian government to let them allow male foreigners leave.
And how do you propose they do that? Because we had a statement yesterday, both from the presidency and from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, saying that, in fact, what you've just pointed out now was against the law, and that they would be reaching out. Apparently, that hasn't yet happened as of this morning.
Yes, sir. It's nothing. We've not seen any changes because male foreigners are still there.
Can I ask a fairly more personal question? How have you been coping? I know you've talked about the cold, which is -2, -3, -4, which is really cold, which means that you can't really go out. But in terms of feeding, in terms of being able to access groceries and things like that, in terms of being able to access your money, visit the ATM and all of that, given the situation on ground, how have you coped?
The situation on ground is, in terms of money, people are stranded too because, for example, myself, I use my dad's card to withdraw. Right now, the withdrawal limit for me is $30 daily. I can't withdraw more than $30. So it's really terrible, even if I need money, because there are options of getting like on a tour bus, but it's really expensive. And tour buses now are ranging from about $100 and above. People don't even have money because you can't withdraw more than $30 if you're using a foreign card. So it's really bad.
Now, the other thing, of course, is health. When you have extreme cold weather of this nature, people have various troubles in terms of health, trying to survive. You're talking to me now on a connection, which I know is costing you money. How is that? How has that gone? How has that worked? How have you managed to cope with that? Because I'm sure your relatives back home will also want to know what is happening to you and how you're coping. And you are not in Kiev. From what I see, you are in Lviv, which
I'm in
is...
Lviv, yes.
Sorry?
I'm in Lviv, sir.
All right, so how far is Lviv from Kiev, and what's the difference between Kiev and Lviv in terms of the things that we've been talking about?
Okay, so in Lviv, it's much calm. In Kiev, that's where the invasion is right now. So currently, Kiev is the center they're attacking, but Lviv is relatively safe. And Lviv, Kiev from Lviv is about 12 hours and above, depending on the kind of train you're using.
And how far is Lviv from the border? If you were to try to make it to the border, how far is it? I know you said that from Kiev to the border is quite a distance. Some people walk 24 kilometers. But from Lviv,
Yes.
is it closer?
Okay, so it depends on the border you're using, because we've been told 4 borders that are accepting people. But from the ones people have been going since Thursday night, Friday, so they have to take a bus or a cab to a particular place, but they are not registered. Some cars are not registered. So when they alight from the cars, that is when their journey begins. So it's really long. I know a friend that started his journey on Thursday, and he got to the border, I think, on Friday evening or so.
Wow,
So it's really long.
That's really, really long. We are told at this end that arrangements have been put in place to help Nigerian students and Nigerians in the Ukraine to make this journey, particularly to Poland and some of the other countries you mentioned, the 4 that you said are accepting people. Have you seen that in operation? Has anybody told you that that's really happening? Has that really helped to alleviate the movement from Ukraine out to a less combative zone, shall we say?
Yes, movements have been in place, yes, but it's just that the number of people that have moved are really small. They're really small because of the Ukrainians are not allowing people. But yes, so far, the Nigerian embassy has reached out to those countries, and they're readily accepting us. But the problem is we can't even move. So it's looking like, why is the situation is that bad is because if you can't leave from the Ukrainian side, you can't know until you leave the Ukrainian side and get to other parts that you will know that the Nigerian embassy is working. So right now we just need them to appeal to the Ukrainian government. I don't know how they're going to do it, but we need them to appeal to them to let us go. So yes, information has been passed to the receiving countries, but right now if we can't leave Ukraine, it's not going to show that they're making effort.
Now, many of you, like you and you are students there, and one would think that your schools, the schools that you are there attending, would have a role to play in some of this. But so far in our conversation, you haven't mentioned the school at all. Does that mean, am I to assume that that means that the schools or the school has played no role in all of this, even though that's why you are there?
Schools, absolutely not. Our schools left us alone. We're in this mess because of our school, basically. They didn't make any provision. They didn't even give us information. We only knew about the borders because people were finding out. It wasn't like the school told us, oh, you can go to this border. They don't give us the right information. They don't reach out to us. It's just terrible. So we are just on our own. Our school has nothing to do with anything. They didn't give us any information.
Now, I must ask this as well, because it was one of the points that was made that even if you, the students have to leave the Ukraine and go to Poland and from there go elsewhere for safety reasons, you have to confirm your exit documents from the schools before you leave, otherwise you may not be able to return. Is that correct? What does that really mean?
Okay, so the way it works is, in our school, we're supposed to take permits from our schools in order to go home. So if the school doesn't permit you, for example, a sixth-year student, the sixth-year students and the third-year students are supposed to write their final exams, their qualifying exams in May, June. So, and for sixth-year students, their temporary residential permits will be expiring 1st of August. So as schools, we tried asking them, what do we do? Because this situation is getting out of hand. But they told us that the reason why we were online was because of the COVID situation. So we couldn't leave. So they told us if we wanted to leave, we're leaving on our own, that the school hasn't asked us to leave. So if the COVID situation has been contained, we're supposed to fly in back. And for every day you miss, you're paying in dollars. And you're not just paying like $1 or $2. They're calculating the hours and multiplying it. So you're really going to end up paying about $45 or so per day for a day you miss, especially if you're in sixth year, because we're doing cycles. So we needed to be sure. And the fact that we sixth year students didn't know if by the time the situation will be over, if our residential permits will be over, our residential permit would have expired, because if your residential permit expires, you'd have to go back to Nigeria and start the processing. But all our original documents are with school. So if we even want to start the processing, we don't know how to do it. So we kept on asking school for information, but nothing was done. Nothing. So we just got information, I think, on Friday. Yes, on Friday, that we can leave now. And then if our residential permit expires by the time, and it's the war is not over, then they'll send us an invitation letter. So we only got concrete information and a letter, like an instruction telling us to leave just this Friday.
Okay,
sorry, last Friday that passed. Sorry.
Okay, Niola, I must ask you, what is your own plan now? We've talked about every other thing, but what are you planning to do? Because it doesn't look like this is going to end anytime soon, and I'm sure that your relatives back here in Nigeria would be worried sick about you until you are safe. For as long as you are in the Ukraine and this war is ongoing, this invasion is ongoing, you are in danger. What do you plan to do?
Okay, I plan on using the toll bus. It's really expensive because the prices are doubling every minute. So I'm planning on using a toll bus. I've gotten my toll bus ticket, so I'm to leave tomorrow if all things go well.
Would you be letting the Nigerian embassy know that so that they can follow your progress until you get across to Poland? Where will you be going? Poland?
Yes, sir, Poland.
So will you be letting the Nigerian embassy in Kiev know, and then, of course, contacting the numbers that we have been given in Nigeria, that
yes,
students
sir.
like you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I can only wish you the very best of luck. This is a very dangerous situation you're in. One can only wish you the very best of luck and safe travels when eventually you do go. Thank you so much, Eniola, for being with us on the program this morning.
Thank you very much, sir. I really appreciate it.
Good luck.